Hi guys, today I'm going to cover a subject close to a lot of people's hearts, mental health in construction. Um, before we start, I just want a bit of a disclaimer. Um, I've had no training in mental health, not in any way. This video is purely from my experience. And straight away, I would tell people, if you're here watching this video because you're in a position where your mental health's bad and you've seen this pop up and thinking this could help, or I'd like to watch this, or whatever, just talk to somebody straight away before you do anything else. Just talk to somebody. It doesn't have to be your wife, your kids, your mum, your dad, anybody. There is people out there that you can sit down and talk to. Go to the pub, go and speak to some random. Just start having a chat with them about anything. Just get yourself away from that mindset and where you can start afresh and get your mind in the way. That's before we start. So my experience with mental health. So 31st of January 2014, I had a car crash, mental health wise. Not literally in a car, but that's what I call it. I had a mental breakdown. I was in a right mess, absolute mess, and you'll see in a minute why. Basically, a lot of it was through construction. Been in the industry for most of my life. I'm 41 now. At the time, I was probably about mid to early 30s. Life was going generally well. And I was doing extensions at the time, home extensions, which people seem to think there's loads of money in it. And, don't get me wrong, some jobs there is, some jobs there isn't. But generally, I was never the most expensive construction company out there, and I was never the cheapest. But I had this job, an extension, ground floor extension, and I'd invested quite a bit of money of my own into it. I've never been in a position where I've had loads of money in the bank, but I've had enough to tick over. So I invested my money into it in the way that I got a deposit when I first started the job. We got stage payments, but there was still little bits of shortfalls that I had to pick up, and it was a few £1,000s. And I always had that little bit of fallback at the time, where if for instance I didn't get paid off a job, I had enough to pay the wages, or I'd have enough to pay my bills, my rent, my phone bill, put food on the table. I was never in a position at the time where that wasn't achievable. So I was quite comfortable, but I just lost my granddad previously, a couple of years before, and it was playing on my mind, and it weren't good, and I didn't really see it coming, to be honest with you. That's the thing with mental health, you don't see it coming. I'll be honest with you, I did not expect this. Before I had the breakdown, I thought depression and mental health was just a thing you put on the form for the government when you went a week off on the sick. I didn't realise it was something so real and so intense. But you learn in life that some things aren't quite as what they expect. So moving on, we get back to the job in hand. So we was away with the extension. We're coming to the end of the job. We pretty much get 99% of the job done, and money was getting tight, and my partner was saying, look, we've got money here, but you're gonna have to be careful with it. You're definitely gonna get paid, aren't you? I was like, yeah, of course I'm gonna get paid. Of course I'm gonna get paid. I had a burden on my mind. I was like, how am I gonna finish this job? And it was tough. It really was, and it was one of them jobs that it just needed rid of it. Just needed to get it done. So we got it completed. Come to payment, and the guy turned around to me and said, "Don't have any money. I've not got no money left." And at that point, my whole world went crashing down, and I was like, "What? You got no money left?" He's like, "No, I've got no money left." and it was just so plain, and just his expression was like, honest to God, I wanted to put my fist through his face. It was, I could not believe it. I get home and I says to the missus, I says, no money. And she says, what do you mean? I went, we put all our money in, which, you know, to some people wasn't a lot of money, but to us at the time, you know, a couple of thousand. I think it was about 3,500. It was a lot of money, you know, to us. And obviously to some people that's spare change, but to us it was a lot. So and that's where everything crashed down. I ended up going out on a bridge, not far from my house. Couldn't do it anymore. I'd car crashed. I'd had a mental breakdown. I couldn't deal with it. I didn't know what to do, and within a space of 7 days, I went from being a relatively confident person to being somebody completely different. It's tough. Let me tell you, mental health is tough. So I ended up on a bridge. Didn't want to be here anymore. Wanted to end it. I said in a previous video. I just remember because my missus had said to me over that period of time, you know, you need to go and speak to the doctor. I want you to go and see the doctor. She phoned the doctor because I wouldn't go. And I went, and eventually I went because my mum was getting on my case as well about it. So I went to the doctor and he just said, look, he said, if you have any problems where you think that you could be in danger, just go to A&E. And I went, but I ain't got any problems. He went, no. He went, it doesn't matter. He went, you don't have to go to A&E just because you broke your leg or you're ill. He went, mental health is serious. And he was really good, the doctor, I'll be honest with you. And he just said that to me, and I thought, you know what, I'll give it a chance. I've got one chance. Let's see if we can sort it out. So I goes to A&E, and I walked in and I said to him, I don't want to be here anymore. And they went, okay, sit down. We'll get somebody to talk to you. So the local mental health team, I think they were called the crisis team at the time, really good. Sat in a room with me for about an hour and a half, having a chat with me, just basically bringing me down from where I was, because at the time I was in a place where I didn't want to be. And this is the thing with mental health. You know, you can be really bad, and then all of a sudden something will come along, and it could be a conversation, and it'll just drop you from that state of mind of where you don't want, you know, where you're at your most critical point in life, and it just takes you away from that, and it's like, oh, I didn't realise that. I don't, you know, and it honest to God, it really does. So you know, people who've had mental health will understand that. You know, when you're right at the peak and you don't want, you know, nothing else is going to change, you're in a bit of a mess, it just brings you down that step, which stops you from doing silly things. And that's what happened. They said to me, we need you to promise us that tomorrow you're going to get out of bed, not do anything stupid, and we will come and see you. Anyway, at the time, I'm not sure what it's like for most people, but certainly for me and my local area at the time, you know, they had a crisis team which was run through the local mental health. In the part of the hospital, they have a mental health ward, and basically what they were doing was home visits. So they come and visit you up to 3 times a day if you needed, if you were that bad, just to make sure you were safe. And they turn up and they just say to you, how have you been today? How do you feel? What are your thoughts like? And they're asking you to rate things as well, like from 1 being good to 5 being really, really bad. And it really helped. And you know, there was a guy there who come, I can't even remember his name, to be honest, but he was so helpful, and you know, he really helped me get things in order. because at the time I was like, how am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to pay this? How am I going to pay, I think I had a car on finance. How am I going to pay my car finance? How am I going to pay this? I just did not see a way out. I could not see a way out of the position that I was in from the job, what the job had caused. You know, I really couldn't see the way out. So he brought things into perspective for me and helped. Obviously, I was put on medication. I was put on medication from the doctor. He put me on a really low dose of sertraline at the time, and as soon as I went to the crisis team at the hospital, they upped it straight away, boom, through the roof, and they said you need to, you know, in the end I ended up on 200 milligrams of sertraline, which apparently is quite a high dose, and that was to start with. But I had the guy come in from the mental health ward, doing home visits for about a month, and they taper it off. So at first they start, I think I got it one visit every day, and they used to come to the house and obviously chat with you, and then that was every day, and then after about a week it was every 2 days, then after 2 weeks it was every 3 days, and then it just tapered off to once a week. They'd come out, and then I had to go and speak to a psychologist, and explain where I was at and stuff, and have a chat to him. And you know, I was never a talkative person like this. You know, I'm sure all you blokes will know. You know, this is obviously I'm talking about working and mental health in the construction industry. Now, construction industry is dominated by male people. No disrespect to the ladies, there's some great ladies in, but it is a dominated male environment, and you know, it's proven men don't talk. So you know, and I didn't want to talk to people, I'll be honest with you, but I certainly didn't want to talk to family. I didn't want my family knowing. I didn't want my missus knowing. I didn't want me mum and dad knowing, and other people. I didn't really want them knowing about what was going on. You know, it was hard enough trying to come to terms that I had a problem with my mental health. As I say, I had a problem with something I thought was just a form filling exercise, just to get a week off work, you know, beforehand, you know, and you know, how wrong was I? But you know, the best thing to do is talk to people. You know, and I found that once I got to know this bloke, you know, with him coming to my house, I sung like a canary to him. I told him everything, you know, how I felt, where I was, absolute, you know, sung like a canary to him. And I think that was one of the biggest things. Like now, I'll talk about it quite open and freely. You know, I'm not embarrassed about it. You know, I'm a good few years down the line. I've not had any incidents for a good few years now. You know, but I have had a few in the past, and I'll go on to them in a minute. But I've managed them. So yeah, back to obviously the construction side of things. You know, things were tough with my job, because of what had happened, and what had happened as well was obviously because I'd used all my money, I didn't have that back up for the rent, and the bloke who come from the mental health ward said you need to speak to your landlord, let him explain to him what's going on, and you know, he'll understand. And my anxiety was that bad. So what had happened was the guy suggested that my partner phoned our landlord. So she said, I'll phone him. I said, right, phone him downstairs. I run upstairs. Now I'm a fairly strong bloke and not feared of people, and you know, I don't mind mean that in a wrong way, but you'll understand why. I run upstairs, I close my bedroom door, I got under my covers, I got a pillow over my head, I got the covers over my head, and I've got the pillows wrapped around my ears, around my head and my ears, and I'm like la 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 la. I did not want to hear that conversation. I did not want to hear, because I'd ruined everything. It was my fault. I blamed myself what had happened, and you know, I was in, you know, as I say, bear in mind, you know, I was in a bad way, really bad way, and you know, I didn't want to hear that conversation. Next thing, the door opens, my missus walks in. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, nothing, why?" And she spoke to him and everything was fine. And it was that negativity I couldn't deal with. I could not deal with it, you know. I really couldn't. And I just crumbled, absolutely crumbled in that moment. And it was tough. So obviously moving on, I got the help I needed. I had time off work, you know, and then I decided to start going with agencies. I had a couple of jobs on. I cancelled them. I think at the time I had 2 or 3 extensions booked in for after this. I just cancelled them. I said, I can't do them, not in a position. My mental health's not. Luckily the lads I had with me, some of them were self-employed and some of them were just a bit casual. So it weren't too much of a problem where, you know, I had employed lads where I had to deal with them. Unfortunately, I just explained the situation to those boys, you know, and they knew what had been going on anyway. And I just said, look, I couldn't continue. So I ended up giving up the extensions, just saying to them, can't do them. You know, good luck in the future. Wish you all the best. And that was that. You know, I'd been on medication. I'd had regular visits to the mental health ward at the local hospital. And, you know, I was getting myself back on track. Don't get me wrong, I was nowhere near cured. This took, you know, a good few years to get myself really back on track. But, you know, it's not something that just click your fingers and it's done overnight. It's not. But I mean, where I was getting back on track to be manageable, where I could actually, you know, go to work. But it got that way where, you know, I was working for agencies at the time, because every time, you know, I need to revert back. I go back to my brickwork because I'm a qualified bricklayer. You know, it's an industry that, you know, it's normally always looking for lads on the agency or on price work. And I'd turn up at a job in the morning, so I'd ring the agency the day before and I'd say to him, right, yeah, I'm available for tomorrow. I'd turn up at the job in the morning and I'd walk on the job and I'd go, this is shit. I ain't staying here. I'd just walk off. Or I'd get to dinner time and I'd be like, I'm not doing that. I'm going home. And it was just simple brickwork a lot of the time. It was just like literally patching, you know, or a bit of a wall, or, you know, could be anything, bit of block work, bit of pointing, you know. But you're getting paid at the time, I think it was about £18 an hour, maybe £17 an hour on the agency, which back in 2015 wasn't a bad wage, considering we were not long come out of the recession in 2008. So, you know, I had a wage there, guaranteed. I just had to turn up at 8 o'clock in the morning and get through the day. And the problem was I couldn't get through the day. I couldn't get through the day without having like a mini breakdown, in the sense that, you know, I just didn't enjoy being there, so I didn't want to be there. So I just put my tools in the back of the car and drive home. And then I get a phone call off the agency, and they say, Mike, what's gone on? I just say, don't know, I just didn't like it. And you know, because there was a lot of work around at the time, they'd either offer me something else, or they'd say, oh, we can't help you any further then because we ain't got any more work. And then I'd be back on the internet again, looking for another job, get another job the next day, do exactly the same. Could be dinner time, you know, I might even last the day. You know, I got to the point where I was that unreliable, I probably wouldn't have even turned up for my own funeral if I'd have passed away, because I was so unreliable, it was untrue. And my missus was going mad at me. She was, honest to God, she was like, you've got to go to work, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to do this. Anyway, you know, it took me a good couple of weeks and months, maybe a couple of months, to get back to work properly, where I was, you know, able to stay the day. And then I just took it bit by bit at the time, because obviously I was getting help as well. And that was one of the things that they said when I was getting the help, you know, just take it bit by bit. Don't plan ahead. Just short little goals. Just, you know, so don't put things off. just do them. Just do them. Just get through today, and then you can get through tomorrow, and then get through the day after. Don't start thinking, this time next week I'm going to be doing this. Next time next week I'm going to be doing that. Forget that. Do what's doing today. Concentrate on what's happening today, and keep moving forward. And it was really good. A really good tool, and I use that now. I use that even now. So I started back in work again, and then somebody said to me, "Can you do an extension?" And I said, "Yeah, of course." And as soon as I said it, I'd do it. I knew, and I was like, "Why have you just told them you'll do this extension?" But once you've committed yourself, you don't want to go back on your word. So I takes the extension on, gets a couple of lads helping me, a few people who are new, and gets them to help, and I knew, the easiest way. I think the way I explained it at the time was like a boxer. So like maybe a retired boxer who sat at home watching the boxing. Boxing's been all his life, and he's trained hard for it, and he gets in the ring and his heart's not there anymore, and that was the way I was. I got to do the job, and my heart wasn't in it. Same again. My mental health then started to spiral out of control. I started to lose them tools that I'd learned. Take things day by day, and I lost all that. And there was an incident. There was a day where I'd obviously learned not to put my own money in the job, but there was a day where things got really tough. I think I was waiting for payment. I didn't have a lot of money at the time because obviously I'd not been working, so I didn't have a lot to fall back on. I was waiting for a payment. I needed to go and buy some materials because obviously the customer wants the job rolling on. But you don't want to tell them, listen, I've just had a mental breakdown, I've not been working, all this sort of thing. That's stuff you don't want to talk to a customer about. So things were tough. And that day, I remember, I got to a position where things got that tough. I didn't want to be here again. I really didn't want to be here. And, I started to get myself into another breakdown. I just did not want to be here. And that day, I'd got myself that worked up. I wasn't going home that night. Now, I'm not sure what my plans were because I didn't really have a plan at the time. Whereas the first time, I'd planned it. That's why it was so serious, because I'd planned everything. I was going on a bridge. I planned to go on a bridge, because the way I looked at it was quick, it was easy. I didn't want the medication, all that sort of thing. So there was a plan the first time. This time there wasn't. There was no plan this time. I just didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know whether I was going to get in my van and just drive and drive and drive. I find, just getting off track a bit, but I find being by the sea is very, very helpful. Just to walk down the beach. I've been in a position a few times where I've just got in my car and just gone to like Blackpool or Wales, because I'm from the northwest. Just gone to Blackpool, parked the car up, got out, walked along the front, got in the car, and felt so much better. And it's just that sea crashing, the noise. It really is weird. I don't know what it is, but I do find, even to now, I absolutely find it so relaxing going to the beach, just walking down the front at Blackpool or at Wales or maybe at Liverpool, or even doing a spot of fishing. I used to do a lot of sea fishing. Just going there, just being by the sea, found it as my safe place. I think that's the easiest way to put it. So yeah, going back to the job, I wasn't going home that night. Really wasn't going home that night. I didn't know what I was going to do, to be honest with you, because I didn't have a plan. But I was not going home that night. I was adamant. I'm done with this. I've had enough. I'll be honest with you, suicidal thoughts were there. They were quite strong. But I also had the thought of just getting in the car and driving to Devon, in the van and driving to Devon. Devon's what I would class as a safe place for me as well, because I absolutely love the place. I've got so many happy memories there, and they're the things I was thinking as well. And the customers just asked me to come in. We was talking about something, and we was talking about, and I was thinking in my head, thinking, doesn't matter what you're saying, doesn't matter what you want doing tomorrow, I ain't gonna be here. I ain't gonna be here. And this was going through my mind all the time, and it was like, it was nothing bad. There was no beef with the customer. This customer was a great customer. He was really good. But at the time I was, I got myself that worked up. I was just thinking to myself, it doesn't matter what we're doing tomorrow. I will not be here. It's not happening. I will not be here. I had my head focused. And then next thing, something happened, and he was talking about films. And he was like, "Oh, did you watch this the other night?" I was like, "No." And then we was talking about films, and about this, I can't remember what the film was. And then it got onto documentaries, and we must have spent about 20 minutes talking about film and documentaries. And I walked out of the house, I got in the car, and I was like, "Oh, where am I?" And I just dropped down from that level so much. And that person did not know what he had done that day. He really didn't. He brought me down a level and didn't even realise, and didn't even know, because obviously at that point people didn't know about my mental health at work. Because even though I was talking about it and singing like a canary to obviously people who I needed to talk to, let's say, and should have talked to, obviously within my work I hid it. I hid it because I don't want to be turning up doing an extension and them thinking, oh, is he going to lose his head halfway through and stuff. So none of that was talked about, none of that was mentioned, so we had no clue. But he did not realise that day how much he'd made me come down from that level. I got in the van, I went to the shop, got myself a drink, and drove home. And things sort of fell into place the next couple of days. Things fell into place the next couple of days. So there was a way out. Now I'm not going to drag it on too long, because I know it's a tough one. I'll cover it more over the coming months on my channel, The Mental Health. But that's a bit of an insight into my past. My mental health today is great. I honestly believe that we have a pathway led out for us from the man upstairs. I'm not a God believer. I don't go to church, but I do believe there's something, and I believe there's a pathway for us, and I believe that, and I'm also a big believer of things happen for a reason. At the time you don't know why. There's been many things that have happened to me at the time, and I thought, why has that happened? And it's opened other doors. By that happening has opened other doors for me in life, and it's led on to me being the person I am today. I have my moments with my mental health, don't get me wrong. I don't take medication. I've not took medication for probably a good 5 years, maybe 6 years now. I just stopped straight away. I was just like, can't take these meds anymore. I don't want to be on medication the rest of my life. It's up to me to deal with this now. I've got the tools. Let's crack on. And I stopped. I obviously reduced my medication and came off it. And I did that myself without the doctors. And then I told the doctor I've come off my meds, and he was really worried. But as it was, things worked out. I'm quite strong today with my mental health. I go to work every day enjoying the day. I've moved away from doing the private work, doing the extensions. It's not a road I want to travel down anymore. I want to basically stay on site as a bricklayer, doing price work. I think that's where the money is now. It's not all about money, it's about being happy in a job. But unfortunately, I don't want to work for customers. Now, no disrespect to people who want work doing, you know, we all want work doing, but unfortunately there's some demanding people out there, and I do not want to be part of that. Some people, you know, they'll come and you know, this is the best one. You'll go and you know, somebody will come and ask you to do a job, and they'll go, it's been like that for 6 months. I'm not in any rush to do the job, but I just need to get somebody to do it because it needs to be done now. And yeah, no problem. But you know, and you explain to them like it's going to be 3, 4, 5 weeks, however long before you get on it. After 2 weeks of messaging you, I need this job doing now. I really, really need this job doing. When can you do it? And I don't want to be a part of that anymore. You know, the way I look at it is, you know, I said I'd do it on the back of, you know, it not being urgent because it's been like that for 6 months, and suddenly now you've got your builder that it's all urgent. But unfortunately, you know, it's not urgent, it's just because you want it doing. And I'm sorry if people don't like that comment, but unfortunately that's just how it is. That's just how the industry is. You know, and I'm sure there's builders out there with some brutal stories of mental health, and all I would say to you guys is, you know, get on a channel, talk about it. You know, if you do need the help, go and get the help. I know there's not the help that there was when I got the help, but you know, just speak to somebody. Mental health is massive nowadays, you know, but just speak to somebody. Trust me, it does help. You know, you'll before you know it, you'll be like me, singing like a canary. You know, I understand you can't speak to your parents. I understand some people can't speak to, you know, friends. You know, us men are not like women. You know, a lot of women can go and speak to the mum and stuff. I couldn't go and speak to my dad about mental health. It just doesn't work for me. So I'm gonna end the video, and we'll cover this again at some point. But yeah, going forward, I'm really strong in my mental health. I'm happy at work. You know, obviously I've got this operation which you're going to hear more of, and I keep going on about it, but this is the whole point of me coming on YouTube, because I want to document stuff, and also, you know, try and put an audience out there to listen to my stories as well. You know, but so if you like what I've talked about today, you know, please don't hesitate to like the video, you know, and subscribe. You know, it'd be great to keep this thing going on, keep this train rolling, as they say. But yeah, just click like us and subscribe. And you know, there's a lot more content coming up, and I will cover another mental health video, as I've got lots of stories in regards to mental health. It's just, obviously I'll give you a brief oversight as to where I was, and you know, I want to be as deep as possible as well, and be honest with people. I think it helps. But yeah, all good. So let's move on. Over and out for today. Take care.